Morning and happy pajama day. For today's book share, I'm sharing a story called The Kaleidonotes and the Mixed Up Orchestra, and this was written by Matthew Bronson and Tammy Carter Bronson. And Tammy Carter Bronson is also the illustrator on this book. And this is a really fun book about lots of different instruments in an orchestra, which I thought would be a good book for today since I'm going to be doing an instrument demo today. Not an orchestra instrument, but an instrument nonetheless. All right, so here is the story of the Kaleidonotes and the Mixed Up Orchestra. The Kaleidonotes had gone to hear the symphony's joyous song, but instead the instruments started to quake in a key that was dreadfully wrong. The Kaleidonotes all stared amazed at what they saw on stage. Stumbling instruments bumbling about, crying and shaking with rage. Kindly excuse me, Gigi asked of a rounded and rumbling bass. What's going on? What has gone wrong with everyone in this place? Tonight is our big performance, he boomed. We need to practice, you know. But our conductor isn't here, and no one knows where to go. The flutes are frantic and flustered. The piccolos are peeved. The timpani are standing where violins ought to be. The cellos are hysterical. Their strings are tied in knots. They cannot stop crying because bassoons are in their spots. Gigi informed the other notes of the speech from one of the basses. We can sort this out, Bo said. Let's help them find their places. Finn lined up the timpani with very little discussion. Follow me to the very back row. That's where we put the percussion. I want to sit with my friend the oboe, the tuba started to pout. Tubas, said Amos, must sit at the side so they don't drown everyone out. Here, cried Dax and Echo. The flutes did not delay. You and the piccolos sit a bit closer, or no one will hear you play. Chloe collected the clarinets, clustered in a mass. You are the whispering woodwinds who sit in front of the brass. Bo found the stringed instruments hiding, nervous and tightly wound. Your voice is the softest, so sit in the front and share your shimmering sound. With the orchestra finally assembled, everything seemed all right. Then Trumpet exclaimed, Miss Harp is missing, and everyone took flight. Kaleidonotes and instruments searched the concert hall. The French horn heard a weeping sound behind a curtained wall. Amos opened the curtain. Miss Harp stood trembling behind. I hid myself. I was so scared. But I'm better. You're all so kind. The orchestra took their places. Thank you, they gleefully cried. Then the door rattled, creaked, and swung open. Someone was coming inside. The orchestra hummed in a happy voice that was free and without fear. In the key of G they buzzed. The conductor is finally here. The strings, woodwinds, rhythm, and brass begged their new friends, please stay. The Kaleidonotes sat and smiled and said, we'd love to hear you play. The instrument's chattering comes to a halt as the conductor taps her baton, and with everyone finally where they belong, the orchestra soars into song. And that is the end of my story. Here's a picture of the whole orchestra with all of the different instrument families. So here are our strings in the front, our violins and violas over here, and our cellos and basses over here. And behind them is our woodwind instruments, our flutes and piccolos and clarinets and bassoons and oboes. And behind them is our brass section, our tubas and trombones and trumpets and French horns. And our harp is over here behind. She's part of the string section. And then behind that is the percussion section, all of our different drums and instruments that we play by hitting or striking, all in the back. And then the conductor stands up front on this purple part.